jungle. Who wants the smoke? I didn't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Chasing C notes. Welcome to the jungle. Who wants the smoke? I ain't think so. Use a joke, about to get your ankles broke. Chasing C notes. Dynasty.
Welcome to Chasing C Notes, the podcast. I'm your co-host Eric, and I'm always joined by my co-host Larry. What's good, Larry?
What's going on? Let's do this.
We haven't now, Larry. This is episode 16. We had episode 15 like 6 weeks ago. So tell me how you feel about this season. I know we're going to talk about our schedule prediction at some point, but overall, how are you feeling about this season?
Season's good, man. KP is back. Milwaukee's starting to play like Milwaukee, and Philly is still a question mark.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to Philly, believe me, and we're going to get to overall our thoughts about this new Celtics championship defending team. But let me just say that we're going to have some things on the docket. We're going to talk about the NBA news. We're going to do our schedule prediction for December and how we did on November. We're also going to have our power rankings. And Larry, I know I stole this from other news sports outlets, but we're going to have a stuck down. We're going to talk about what we think that needs improvement and what we think is just plain disappointment. So I'm going to talk about the NBA news first, and we're going to start with JT getting Player of the Month for October and November. Wemby, of course, got the Player of the Month for the West, but I know you just noticed that JT got this award, but overall, do you think it was deserved? Do you think he's just playing his lights out? Like, what do you feel like this is only the beginning of his revenge tour? Like, what are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel like he was very aggressive for the entire month. Everyone knows that he was upset about, the Olympics, and he said, no, what better way to say anything but say it with your chest, right? So he didn't publicly, but he definitely showed on the court. And I feel like even JB was doing the same thing, but JT just had that fire. He was scoring consistently. His scoring has always been top 5. And, he carried us, and we had a really good start with him. So it was great.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. This has been the season where he's just like, I don't know if he's scoring more. Well, he's definitely statistically scoring more than he was last year. But I feel like this year he's not doing those, like, that whining thing. Like, he's not getting as many technicals. And although it's early in the season, but he's not getting as many technicals. He's not doing the whole, like, oh, why didn't you call N1 in this play? I mean, that's just my opinion, but do you think that those little things is kind of what led to him getting the award?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of little things. I know he was getting to the free throw line some more. His threes were going in a little bit better. When he plays defense, rebounds, assists, he's just overall just a better player. And I just feel like he was a complete package. And like I said, he was a little bit more sharp because obviously he wasn't worn out because the season was just started. So I think that really fared well for him.
Yeah, and he's playing the minutes. He's got the assists going. He got the rebounds going. He could have a triple-double every night if he wanted to. I think that, if you compare him to, let's say, somebody like Jokic, who has a triple-double almost every night, he's not the main focus of that offense. As opposed to Jokic, which he's kind of like the main focus of the offense. The ball has to go through him. I think that Tatum, not necessarily the ball has to go through him for the Celtics to get a good shot. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Joker, he was a little off even last night, and I'm really worried about Denver. They got to figure something out. I feel like they're missing a piece. I think they need some 3-point players to get them over that hump. But JT's doing. I really haven't seen a lot of Wemby, so I'm not sure what warranted him to get that. But Wemby's always a high show no matter what.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like people are gonna watch Wemby like a hawk, so it doesn't matter. I guess he must have gotten this award because he's consistent, but I haven't looked at his numbers. But I'm not shocked that Wemby won it. I'm just saying, can he maintain this level of efficiency going through the whole season? That's what I want to see. The other news, JB got fined $25,000 for that gesture he made against Detroit. Do you think the NBA was right, or do you think it was just a bit too much?
I thought that was a little aggressive. I went back to watch the highlight because I missed that when they played the Pistons, and the score was 37-24. So when he dunked that shot, it was, they're going up 39-24, and he made a very aggressive, pretty much slash your throat sign. And you were the Finals MVP last year. You cannot do that. You're the face of the NBA. So I think the fine was warranted.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you have to know your audience and you have to know your place, right? And I think that he's getting more attention now that he won the championship than he was before. I think if they didn't win it last year, it would have been like maybe not $25,000, maybe 10. I don't know. But yeah, I think he needs to watch. Obviously, people are watching. And obviously the NBA is like, hey, you got kids watching, you can't do that. You can't do that. Speaking of fines, Larry, Ime Udoka, 50 large ones because he started complaining to the refs and went out of refs. So let me ask you a question, Larry. Van Fleet, I think that's his name, right? He went after a ref. Now Ime Udoka went after a ref. So are they just like very, very aggressive in Houston, or is just like, you know what, this is the MO. This is how things work? Or do you think that there has to be some kind of presence, some kind of limit where you have to like pump the brakes?
I think Houston is trying to make a name for themselves. They've been on the bottom for so long. And this year they have a team, and so they're trying to get that respect, and I think it's been hard for them. And, the refs are not going to go along with it. Eventually he start changing mindsets as long as they keep winning games. They're one of those teams that are going to show that they're a powerhouse this year, sort of like we see with Atlanta. And I think they're just frustrated because they're not getting the respect on the West. There's so many good teams in the West, so that's just the way it is.
I mean, they're in second place in the West. I mean, they're a team to wreck with. They're a force to wreck with, and the last 10 games are 6-4. They are outscoring their opponents by almost 7 points a game. I think this is like a real deal with the Houston Rockets. Because think about it. Last year, they doubled the wins last year. And then this year, which is his second year, they have like a plethora of players. They can trade for anybody they want, basically. They got draft picks. They got players that in the G League that can be, they can be bait. They can be used as bait. I really like this Houston team to like make some noise this year.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you.
The other set of news, Larry, the NBA is going to China. They're thinking about playing games there. Are you fine with that, or do you think that we already know that they already have a league in China? So why does the NBA feel the need to like go there? That's what I'm saying.
I think it's a good thing. I feel like we went to China and we made a mistake towards the end of it, and I think it's time to clean that up. We already know how many people are in China, and if you're trying to get that market, you want to continue to work that. We've been doing it pretty much everywhere. London, Mexico, Germany, both NBA and NFL. We've been kind of going all these to these different countries and playing actual regular season games, and obviously there's money there because nobody's going to give up a home game if there's no money there.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely money there. There's no way, whether it's the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, they don't go overseas unless there's money involved, right? Unless some kind of exchange is happening. I think it's good for the game. I think that the NBA has always been growing, has always been a worldwide sport. I think like when you think about easy sports for anybody to play, you think about soccer. The next thing that I think about is basketball. Because even in baseball, you still need like a bat, you still need a glove, you still need a lot of stuff. With the NBA, you just need a ball, basically. So I'm all for it. Finally, Larry, let's talk NBA Cup, the Emirates NBA Cup. How are you understanding this? Are you fine with the basketball courts being a different color? Like, where you at overall with the NBA Cup?
I had a lot of issues with it last year. I think they fine-tuned some of the things that people were complaining about. Obviously, it's not a perfect system at only being a year, but I think it's starting to make sense. The name change. The courts are better than they were last year. The jerseys, I guess, is going to have to grow on me for a little bit, but I definitely like it because it's during the time frame where no one's really watching basketball. We're getting really into football. And I think it's very important to kind of see and give an opportunity for some of these teams. Like we saw the Lakers in Indiana get an opportunity to make some money, and now we may have possibly Atlanta and another team that is not really probably going to win the chip, but they get to win the cup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's in the scope of things, I don't think that it's a lot of money for the players, especially, somebody like Jaylen Brown or JT, who's making a lot of money, and this is quote unquote chump change. But I like the fact that they're competing for the attention of other people, right? Like you mentioned before, you got the NFL playoffs is about to start. You got the NHL that's ongoing. You got I think this Saturday is the MLS final. So there's a lot of things going on, and you have a lot of competing entities here. So to me, bring it on. I like the idea from day one. Yes, I think I was with you last year where I didn't understand what the hell was going on. But now I like it. Now they finally got a sponsorship for it. So more power to them. I'm not mad at the NBA at all for the NBA Cup. Bring it on. Larry, let's talk about this past month, October and November. We both agreed that the team would go 12-2, and to my surprise, they exactly went 12-2 for the month of November. There was some games that we thought was an automatic loss where they actually won, and some games where they actually lost when we thought it was a win. And I'm talking about the Golden State game. Did you see anything in that game or throughout the month that made you worried, or the team is where it's at? I know they didn't have Porzingis for a while, but overall, how did you feel about this team?
I didn't worry, even though it was a home game, and even though it was Golden State. I gave him some slack. I think my cousin was at that game, and I felt bad for him because they won every other game at home till that point. But I think the Atlanta game worried me the most because they actually that first one they won, but there was another one where I think that they lost to Atlanta, and that one worried me.
Yeah, that was Tuesday, November 12th. They lost that game 123-93, and I know we exchanged texts during that game, and I was just like, I know I was texting you, I was like, where is our interior defense? I just felt like Atlanta was killing us inside, but as you mentioned before, we didn't have Porzingis, so, and I don't think Keda, or I might be pronouncing it right or wrong, but Keda is not fully developed yet. At least in my eyes, it doesn't seem like it's fully developed. So when Porzingis is full time and he's actually playing, I don't think they'll play him every game, but at least he's back now. Do you think that the interior defense is going to improve?
Yeah, I have seen improvement with, some of the big guys that we have. Luke Cornett has been playing much better. Even Keda has been moving up. I guess we'll talk a little about that later. But we knew that was an issue, and I felt like it was too much stress on Horford to kind of carry the entire. KP's still not 100%, but I think we're getting better. I was disappointed with Tillman. I know you were as well. But that Atlanta game was tough because it was a very close game. I think it was 117-116, and that really eliminated us from the NBA Cup as well.
Oh yeah, that was so that was the game that we lost. I'm sorry, that was the first game that we lost, the 117-116, and then we actually won the 123-193. So I don't know, it's like, I don't expect this team to lose back-to-back games, but at the same time, I don't expect this team to just let somebody else walk all over them, because let's be honest, every night, that doesn't matter if the team is in the bottom or the top, they're going to have their best shot. They're going to play the hardest, wherever that team is. And I don't know if this team is prepared for that. Or do you think that Atlanta it's better than people thought?
Atlanta's definitely better than what people thought. And obviously Cleveland found out that the hard way. I think they're on a 6-game win streak, and I think I want to say they're playing tonight, and I think they're playing the Lakers, maybe. I don't know. But they're playing tough, and they're showing something, and I think, I put them in about the same category as Houston right now, as a team that's not getting the respect because they've been in the garbage so long, and I think they're trying to prove otherwise.
But seeing that you see this team as really like a hometown team, they have the same coach. Is it just that they have a better roster?
I would say with Atlanta, they did lose Dejounte Murray, which was a key piece, and I felt like they were going backwards, but I really think it's a lot to the coach. And that's doing what they're doing, and I think they're all buying into the philosophy, because you can't go anywhere else but up at this point.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I thought that they were gonna try and trade Trae Young this season, and they ended up keeping him, but they jettisoned Murray, and all of a sudden, I feel like his assists, he's averaging 12 assists a game, which is probably, the best in the Eastern Conference. So is it just because he has the ball more often and DeJounte Murray didn't allow that? Like, what do you think all of a sudden Trae Young is finding people for easy baskets, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think he had 22 assists the other night. So He's sharing the ball. He's always been about sharing, but I just feel like he's doing more of that now because there really isn't a second go-to guy, and so everyone else is kind of vying to be that, and it's elevating their play, and it feels like they're more of a team. That's how I see it. I just see them more of a team.
Yeah, I mean, I know I didn't have him in my stock up for Atlanta, but they could have easily made my stuck up option as far as that goes. So, Larry, who is in your power ranking?
For my power ranking, obviously I started with Boston. I got Cleveland as second. I thought what they were doing was a fluke, but they played some tough teams, and they're not backing down. They have a message that they want to kind of give to the world, and they're showing it. OKC is top of the West. They got third for me. I put Milwaukee in there, even though their record doesn't speak to it. We all know how they started, and I feel like they've been the hottest team since then. And then I got Houston as my fifth spot, Orlando at 6. I put Atlanta at 7. I really do believe they're better than what their record shows as well. I think they just had a bad start. And then I have Memphis, which I think people kind of forget where Memphis was before the incident. And I have Dallas, and then I put New York in my 10th spot.
Yeah, I think New York is playing really well. Atlanta is playing really well. I don't have an issue with any of your power rankings there. With me, I have Boston, even though Boston is second in a lot of power rankings out there, but I have them as first. Cleveland, which I really like what they're doing. OKC. Dallas, I have a number 4. For some reason, even though Luka sat down for a couple of games, they still won those games. So I think there might be somebody that in the long term is actually going to be a good opponent. I have Houston because we just talked about how that team has a dog in them, so they're really, really good. I have Denver. I think they'll bounce back. I know you said that some things are worrisome. Right now, they're in 8th place, so they're not looking like a top 10 team, but as long as you have Jokic, it's just a matter of time before he figures it out, because he's gonna give the ball to the hot hand, and if he can't find the hot hand, it's gonna be him. So I'm praying that there's no injury to him, but I still got Denver in there. New York, we just talked about. They're winning games. They finally figured out. I think they started really, really slow, but now it's almost like shaping out right now. Memphis, we just talked about. I think that once you put Jai into that team, all of a sudden they're good. They're good. They're just naturally good, and I think it's Marcus Smart coming off the bench, or is he starting?
I'm not quite sure if Marcus Smart is starting yet, but they do have a lot of power. I've seen that before. Jock came back, and they're just a tough team. They're just a tough team.
Yeah, they're a very tough team, and then I rounded it out with having Phoenix out. Phoenix, I think that the fact that they have a real guard now kind of changes things, but they just have to play. I don't know if they have to play better defense or if Booker needs to just start being a little bit more selfish. I just feel like they're averaging right now 130 points. They could be averaging a lot more. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed that their average is not a little bit higher, but I have them on my top 10. Again, we're talking about 6 weeks into the season, so teams are still trying to figure out what they are, right? So that's just how I see it. That's my power rankings. So Larry, I want to add this to our podcast going forward. Stock up, stock down. So Larry, who do you have as your stock up?
For stock up, I have Peyton Pritchard. I mean, I think we both had him as a question mark coming into the season. We said he has to step up, and we said the only way he would do that if he gets playing time. He's been getting playing time. He's a lead right now for the sixth man of the year. He's been parlay P for a lot of people. He's doing his thing, and he's more than just a half court shot, maker. He's really carrying the bench at this point. For number 2, I have White. I have, I really think I saw something when he missed a game and how bad we were, and we really needed him. And then when he came back, we went back to our winning ways. So I really think that White is a huge factor. He's not doing that well tonight, as he was like 0 for 10, but he's playing really well, and he was huge. And then Milwaukee. I put stock up for Milwaukee. We all know they started really bad, and we were trying to figure out what was going on with them. I was kind of worried about Doc for a little bit, and then they stepped back and started playing like Milwaukee should play. They may not be in the number 1, number 2 this year, but they will definitely be in the top 4 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee, they haven't had all their good players healthy at once, right? I think something like 9 games where they all three haven't been together at the same time. Eventually they're gonna fix that. Eventually they're gonna be healthy, and they could be easily like a top 3. Right now they're in 5th place, but I see them winning a lot of games once they figure it out. And also, I don't know, it's Giannis, do you think that he's still going full speed, or he's like not really going full speed? Because I know he did it. He said in an interview that he wants to win the MVP again. He's like 30 years old. So
yeah, he's not playing like that. His play right now reminds me of Tatum's play last year, where he's kind of taking a step back, but it's actually helping the team. And that's what I've been seeing from him. So I think both of them have kind of matured and realized that you got to get the team involved. You got to get them motivated. And if you do that, then everything will come easy for you.
Yeah, I think, with Giannis is that he still sees himself as an individual. But I want him to kind of say hey, I need all 4 guys to be with me. I don't, sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. When Drew Holiday was on that team, I mean, they were damn near unstoppable. I don't know what happened, but I don't want to give too much credit to the Milwaukee Bucks, because I don't know what's the score right now.
The Milwaukee's up by 2, 97-95. So it's a close game with 6 minutes left in the 4th.
I don't want to.
Like I said, they're going toe to toe with us right now. Yeah, we're not. White's having a bad game right now. I think us, but Brown and Tatum are doing their thing, but also Giannis and Damian Lillard doing their thing. So it kind of balances out.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that game as it gets going. When we talk about stock up, I want to say Keda is my number 1 stock up, because to be honest, he's filled Porzingis' shoes as far as defense is concerned. That dude is rebounding. The dude is blocking shots. He's shooting 64%. That's because most of his shots are like dunks, basically. But I really like his game. He has so much potential for improvement. I really like how he's coming along. Larry, do you see him as trade bait, or do you see him as actually being a cornerstone for the Celtics team?
I really hope we hold on to him. I like how we have these 4 big men in rotation, kind of helping out, and maybe they rest and play. I think we need something like that in order to make it all the way through to the cup, the chip. I mean, so I think that's pretty good. But hopefully they're not trying to, set him up and let him go. I know we're missing a player. I'm not quite sure what that play would be at this point, but I don't want us to give up a big piece for something that we think we need.
Yeah, that's definitely true, unless his name is Tillman. The other thing that I want to talk about is, you already mentioned Pritchard. If he doesn't get the 6-man award, barring any injuries in the future, but this dude is automatic 15, 20 points off the bench. Like you mentioned before, he's getting the minutes. When White was hurt for a couple games or 2 games, I don't know, 1 game, he stepped in, started, got points. I mean, this dude is doing it all. Inside, outside. Yes, he sometimes could be a defensive liability out there, but if he's scoring 20 points a game, why even take him out? So I have fully agree with you. Pritchard definitely deserves a stock up. And then my other stock up is Cleveland Cavaliers. I knew that Mitchell was good, but I didn't think that Garland was going to be good. Mobley was going to be... I mean, they're good individual players, but I didn't know that they would put together a team. And even Merrill, who has jumped around from NBA team, all of a sudden he found a home, and he's like good. He's a good three-point maker. So my hat off to Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they're playing, and again, this is a weak Eastern Conference, so I don't want to take my heart too much, but at least they're doing it. Larry, who is in your stock down?
I think we brought it up a little bit earlier. I was disappointed with Tillman, so I have him as my number 1 stock down. I was hoping he would kind of fill the role of, the last big man that we had that was kind of in his position, and he didn't measure up, he lost his minutes because of that. So we don't see him as much unless it's garbage time now. Number 2, I have Denver. I saw Denver's game the other day. I was very disappointed with how they were playing. And like you said, if Joker's not really on, it makes it really tough for Denver to kind of get around. And they don't take enough threes, so they need some 3-point threats on their team. You can't have your only 3-point threat being Westbrook. That's not going to work. And then the Lakers. The Lakers came out real strong. It was like father-son type deal, and all of a sudden now they're back to the same Lakers that we all know. And I'm just like, so I'm just very disappointed with them. And I thought they would at least, stay in that middle of the row if anything, but they feel like they're falling down.
So do you think that with the Lakers, they need a big trade, or they just need to blow this team up? Like, what, or do you think that they're, because I feel like ever since LeBron's been there, they've always have like a play-in. They're always in the play-in. They're always like 2 or 3 games from playing, not even being in the play-in. So what do you think they need?
Yeah, they're like the East Coast version of the Miami Heat. I really think, the Lakers are just, I don't know what the deal is. If, because I know there's a lot of championship teams that won't play until it gets late, but they can't afford to do that. I mean, right now they're losing to the Hawks, like I predicted, and they just have to figure something out. And I definitely think they need to change their lineup, but nobody's going to give anybody to the Lakers. It's kind of like the Yankees. No one wants to help them, so you're going to have to buy it.
Yeah, they're going to have to buy their way out. So for my stock down, we already talked about Tillman, but I'm going to drive the point a little bit further, Larry, with giving you his stats right now. He's a 25.9% field goal percentage right now. For a big man, that is super duper low. There was a couple of games where he started for Horford, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why are you trying to shoot threes? I feel like his game, he was trying to have the same game as Horford, but it wasn't working. Right now, he's 0.4 for assists, 2.1 for rebounds, 1.2 for points. I mean, could he get just cut? Could he get cut, or do you think that the team needs him?
I think we need to find a player similar before we get rid of him, because I felt like that's what we needed. We were missing. We do need someone to shoot threes. I know it's crazy saying that with all the 3-point shots we have, but we definitely need that, because if not, the ball is always going to go to that one person and they're going to leave them wide open. So we need everyone to be a threat that's on the floor in order for this flow to work. And he doesn't have that. So he's a liability when he's on the floor. I seen him play a little bit of defense when he came in a couple of times, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's a shot, but he's just not flowing with our style. And I feel like we need to get away from him and find somebody who's lean and long, like we've been kind of accustomed to.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know. Let's quickly go through the team's reserves right now, because we talking about Luke Cornett, we talking about Sam Hauser, we talking about Walsh, we talking about Springer, we talking about that dude Drew Peterman, who they just signed to a contract. Like, if it just seems like Tillman doesn't fit in that reserve role, right? It just seems like he's an odd man out. Like I feel like Joe Mazzulla kind of knows this, but he's like trying to like get him going. But I don't know. It's like we just started December and he still hasn't gotten going. So I'm thinking, like, is he just a candidate to like just be dropped? Because at this point, I don't think a team is gonna take him unless he's attached to some draft picks. I mean, what's your estimation?
Yeah. And, Peterson just came in. I feel like he's more of an impact than Tillman, and that's not the way it should be. But that's the player that works in our system, and Tillman just doesn't fit it. So, I just think that we need to, look elsewhere at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think we just, and I don't think he has any kind of extension or anything like that. I think it was a pickup from Memphis, and that's it. My other suck down, Larry, is the Celtics interior defense. Now, I know that Porzingis just came back, but overall, other than Keita, why are people not afraid to go inside? Because we have two very good wingers, and we probably have the best blocking shooting guard in the league. So what's going on? Why are people like, I feel like Atlanta did this and that's how they were able to beat us. I feel like Golden State did it and that's why they will always beat us. And to be honest, we were struggling towards the end. They actually won the game, but we were struggling against other teams when it came to inside. Like, I know we ended up beating the Pistons, but that game was closer than you want it to be. So what do you think is happening with the interior defense?
Again, there's been a lot of injuries with that four that we've had, and I think we just need to come up with a system. I thought we were just going to play two at a time, and I think that's the best bet because you want them to have more minutes. And I think if we can figure out which two work well with each other, just play those two together. and hopefully our interior defense will step up. But it's been pretty dreadful. And I wanted to blame a lot of it on KP because he wasn't there, and nobody really wanted to step up. But I think now that he's back, and we want to wait till he's 100%, and I think we can hopefully can show that our defense is back on track in the inside.
Yeah, because I like it when the Celtics play defense and then that defense turns into offense. I just don't like the other way around where we're playing like the toilet bowl offense and nobody's like jumping the lanes or anything. I don't like that at all. That's when I get upset when I'm watching a game. Lastly, Larry, my stock down, the Philadelphia 76ers. When you talk about a shit show, that is a shit show. They're right now, I think when I'm looking at the standings, they're all the way, they're 5-15. This is terrible. They got a better record than the Washington Wizards by 3 games. Larry, I don't know where to start. Whether it's Embiid not showing up in shape or Embiid still not 100%. Paul George not 100%. Maxey trying to be the team leader, but he's not. I mean, I don't know. What do you make of this, or do you think that is it Nick Nurse to blame for this? Is it the front office? Like, why do you think they're so terrible?
I know they got hit with the injury bug. I mean, that happened in preseason. Embiid is just not right. I think he, maybe the Olympics wore him out. I don't really know. They've just been very dreadful. Milwaukee had a bad start just like Philly did, but Milwaukee has bounced back. Philly's taken too long. They're going to mess around and get left out of the playoffs at this rate. They did win tonight. I think they beat Orlando. I think Paul George had 21 points. That saved them a little, but they have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of teams that are going to just eat them up. So they got to get back to the Maxey, Embiid, and George, which is what we thought they were going to be this year. It hasn't happened. And, I will, before I call out their coach, I will say that they definitely need to be full strength. If they still can't win games at full strength, then we can go look at the coach and look at the decisions from the management.
Because this is Nick Nurse first year or second year?
I want to say this is his first year with them.
I want to say this is the first year. So I don't know. I don't want to place blame on the coach because, like I said, they got hit with the injury bug. So still, it's only 5 weeks, 6 weeks into the season, but you don't want to go into a deep hole. And well, let's be honest. The Eastern Conference is the kind of conference where you can't start terrible and actually still, if you make it to 500, you can still have a chance to make it to the playoffs. That's how Miami has done it for years. But I just want to say that Philadelphia is literally falling apart. Do you think Embiid just needs to sit down, take 3-4 weeks off, get 100% and then come back? Or is this whole I'm going to give it a shot from game to game? It's just not going to work.
At this point, I would rest Embiid as long as you can, because if he's not 100%, you're still going to lose games. I would try to lean on Paul George as much as you can and try to see if you can win a few games until Embiid is ready. And if it gets to a point and you can't get there, then that's all she wrote. But as we're doing this podcast, my stock up has went down. I had Pritchard. Pritchard did not score at all this game. White was 0 for 10, and Milwaukee looks like they're going to lose to the Celtics. So, my stock up has went down. But, I think all those teams will bounce back.
Yeah, listen, I know this was a tough game for Milwaukee. So what is it? Do they have a final score yet?
There's still seconds left, but they're down 107, 102.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
But, Middleton's first game, we got to get his legs underneath him, and nobody wants to play the champs coming back from that. So,
Yeah, I mean, and it is, listen, remember 2008, the one thing that I always kind of, I didn't like about Doc Rivers is that there was always like the toilet bowl offense where people just sat back, played one-on-one and see what happened. I don't know if that's happening with the Milwaukee Bucks. I haven't watched enough for their games, but other than Damian Lillard, I want a second option. And I don't know if Giannis, you consider him a second option because he really just have one move and it's like, get out of my way. I'm going down the lane. So you listen to the here there. That's for another podcast. So Larry, before we end this podcast, what do you have to tell to the Celtics fans out there? Oh, wait. Before you even answer that, let's just take a look at December real quick before we end this. So I have the team going 8-4. You have the team going 10-2. Other than obviously we're already like 4 games in. Is there a change? Is there a change that you want to do? Do you want to stick to that prediction, or you do think they're gonna have a better record because they're gonna win today, right?
Yeah, I had them losing in Milwaukee. And it looks like they're probably gonna win that game. And they won against Detroit, and they won against Miami. They did lose to Cleveland.
Right?
But I think they may still struggle against Memphis. And maybe up one of these games coming up. Maybe they'll. Yeah, I think you said they were going to lose to Orlando. They probably will drop Orlando's game. So I think they'll stay at 10-2.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know if Banchero is coming back for that game. I made my prediction based on the fact that he's playing. I have to look at the injury report, but if he is still playing, I think they lose that game, especially here in Orlando. But I'm gonna stick to my original 8-4 record. I'm not gonna make any changes right now, pending that Memphis outcome and that Orlando outcome. The other game I have them losing is to Indiana. Indiana doesn't seem as good as they were last year. And it's basically the same players that are coming back. So they might, to be honest with you, I think they might best my 8-4 record, but it remains to be seen. So no change for you and no change for me. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay. So Larry, what do you have to tell the Celtics fans out there?
Let's go. Let's get ready. Let's get number 19. Let's do this.
Listen, now we have Porzingis back. I know he's on, limited minutes, limited games basically, because hasn't played he has one night off and then one night on. He hasn't played back-to-back games yet. Listen, as long as we get home court advantage, I know Cleveland is doing their thing and hey, more power to them. But eventually, we're going to get on a streak. And I think you said that they might get on a streak in January, right? January or February? I don't know. There was a streak. You had them winning like 10 games in a row at one point. Oh, March. March. So I'm looking at March right now. Yeah. You have them going undefeated for the whole month of March. I think that's going to happen. I don't know which month yet. I don't know if it's February or March because they only play 11 games in February. I know that one of those 2 months, something's going to click and we're going to get that number 1 seed.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm not.
And they might just lose 2 games here. So they're getting close to that undefeated month. So let's see if it happens.
No, I am almost certain that it is going to happen. Of course, I'm crossing my fingers, no injuries to report, but I'm almost certain that that's going to happen. So when we meet again, Larry, it's going to be a new year. It's going to be in January. That's the next time we meet. It's going to be a whole new year, 2025, number 19. Oh, let me just tell you this quick story. The other day, I saw a person that was a Knicks fan, and I asked him, "Hey, do you think the Knicks are gonna be gonna do good this year?" And he told me no, he doesn't think they're gonna do good this year. So I'm asking you, Larry, is that a good estimation of the Knicks? Because right now they're in 5th place. If I look at the standings, and this is not a Knicks podcast, but right now they're in 4th place. Do you see them going on a run?
I don't. The jury's still out with New York. I've seen some teams show me they have something like Cleveland and Atlanta, but the Knicks have not showed me anything that I haven't seen from last year. If they start playing like they did in the playoffs, then it kind of put them up there. But for right now, they're missing something. And we got to remember they did change a little bit of their core, so I think they just need to get through that.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, like, when I compare the New York Knicks to, let's say, Orlando Magic, they're 2 teams that are like to play defense. Defense is number 1, and then the offense. I want to see the Celtics do that. I want to see them play good defense that turns into good offense. So that's my only drawback in the last 6 weeks, that I want them to play more defense. Yes, keep taking those threes, keep taking those open shots, keep moving the ball around, but I want to see some tenacious defense, especially not only from White, but from the other star players. I want to see more from JT. I'm actually seeing a lot of blocks from Jaylen Brown, but I want to see JT get involved. That is my only complaint about this team. But other than that, let's get it. Number 19, let's get it.
Let's get it. And as we conclude the podcast, Celtics did win 111-105. So let's go C's.
Let's go C's. So, Larry, I'm going to see you in a couple of weeks. But before that, it's going to be Christmas. So Merry Christmas to you and your family. And whoever's listening to this podcast, Merry Christmas to you. Or maybe you celebrate Hanukkah, whatever it is. This is the holidays. So just be merry and celebrate.
Yes, kindness.
Yes, kindness, and respect. So with that said, I say peace.
Peace.
Hi guys, thank you for listening to this episode, Chasing Dino's podcast. If you have any concerns or questions, feel free to email us at simsportsmedia@gmail.com. And please subscribe to this channel, this page, whatever it is, platform that you listen. Peace.